Welcome back. I think this will be my last video for the 2024 Chess.com Daily Chess Championship. At this point, it would really surprise me if anything changed, which would cause me to make another video. I have finished my last game in the second round. This is my row right here, and out of 22 games, I have 11 wins. That's not really the disappointing result that it might sound like at first, because most of the people in this group were rated higher than me when this round started. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with my performance in this tournament. I won all my games in the first round, and in this game, I won just a couple of more than I expected to, beating a couple of higher rated opponents. The game that I'm going to go over today was my last game, and I won it, and it was against one of the higher rated opponents. But I don't know at what point I went ahead. I don't know whether my opponent had a lead at any time, so I'm going to go through the game with the eval bar on and see if we can learn anything. If I did go behind, I'm going to try to figure out why, and we'll try to pinpoint the spot at which my opponent gave me the advantage. So let's just go. Well, we stayed relatively even out to move 12. My opponent has had a slight edge the entire time, as is usually the case in Caro-Kann defenses, and here it's 0.5. But after my opponent pushed this b-pawn forward, it looks like it's attacking my knight. I had a few choices. One is to drop it back here to a7, where I guess it could attack the pawn from there, but the pawn's defended by their bishop. I guess I could have put it on d4, except they have two pieces attacking that, and I would only have one defender on it. I could have put it over on a5, but like I said, what I did was put it on b4, and the eval bar jumped to 1.0, and then it looked like it came back a little bit to 0.9, but that was the first jump of the eval bar, so I'm trying to guess what I should have done. I guess I could have put it back on its home square, and I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have left it there and done something else, although I guess I could have checked. But if I had checked, they could have blocked in a number of ways. They could have blocked with the knight, they could have blocked with the bishop, they could have blocked with the pawn. If they'd blocked with the bishop, I could have taken it, but then I still would have had to move the knight. So I'm going to guess a5, but I have no idea. Yep, knight to a5 or knight to b8, it looks like, are about even, or bishop to a5 check. All of those would have kept us pretty close. Okay, well, I don't know what the problem with knight to b4 was, other than the fact that they could push another pawn to attack it, but that's not what they did. Because from here, it's attacking the bishop. And I guess my opponent didn't want to lose the bishop, so they moved it back, but I don't know if that was their best move. So after I went here, you see the eval bar jumps. Okay, and it was their best move to drop the bishop back to e2. And it's definitely not suggested for them to attack the knight with the pawn. If they had, I would have, of course, just taken the bishop. Okay, well, I'm going to turn off the lines and keep going, because clearly my opponent has an advantage here, although I don't know why. I don't know if it's because after they push this back, they're eventually going to push the pawn. I don't see c3 in any of these cases. So I don't know why that's a problem, but that's one problem. A lot of times going through the games with stockfish like this is when you see the eval bar jump or the game review says it's a mistake, a lot of times it's hard to figure out why. Now, sometimes if you follow the line out to the end, you'll see that, oh, eventually they're going to be able to do this. But in this case, the eventually is a long ways off, apparently. So I don't know why they have an advantage. Just a few moves later, we're still at about +1, so my opponent still has that same advantage, and I still haven't figured out why yet. But the eval bar hasn't jumped until here. When my opponent got this knight out, it went back to 0.5. Maybe this is where they should have played c3, I don't know. And I'm just going to go ahead and look. No, it's definitely not. They should have played g4 to attack the other knight, even though they've just castled. Okay, well, my opponent, I guess, even though they're, 100 points or so higher than me, is like me in the fact that right after you castle, you don't want to play one of those pawns. They could have played bishop to b2 and it would have been better, or queen to d2. Well, that would have attacked the undefended knight. But no, I don't know what the problem with this is. Okay, well, let's turn off the lines and keep going. All right, now what I played here was d3. Even without the lines on, and even though I haven't yet, moved the piece to see whether the eval bar jumps, that doesn't look great because I only have two pieces, my knight and my queen, defending that square, and they have three pieces attacking that square. So that doesn't seem like the best move, but I'm going to guess the eval bar jumped here. Yeah, it went over to over +1. So before I, pause and skip ahead, I should have just castled here. Okay, or bishop to c5 or h6. Well, h6 would have put us over +1. So either bishop to c5 or castling. Okay, yeah, I don't know why I played d3 here. I have no idea. But that gave my opponent an advantage, but only if they take it with their c-pawn. I'm guessing that's what they did. Yeah, the eval bar went down a little bit, so that might not have been their best move, but it wasn't a mistake or blunder. I castled here. The eval bar did not jump. Okay, but it did jump here on move 18 when my opponent took the bishop. It jumped back to not to my favor, but they lost their +1 advantage here. So again, I'm not sure what they should have done. Maybe they should have just left that there and developed the bishop. Maybe not there. Their bishop doesn't have a lot of places that it can go right now, but they shouldn't have taken this. I don't know why. Generally, it's a good idea to trade a knight for a bishop if you get a chance, especially if it's, getting something out of the way of this pawn. It's not quite passed yet, but maybe they should have. Nope, that wouldn't have done any good. Okay. I was thinking at first, going after that pawn, but not only is that pawn protected, but so is that square. So I don't know what they should have done here, but that gave me the advantage, assuming that I took it back, right? Was that my best way to take back? Okay. Maybe not. It's 0.7 now. All right, and here on move 22, for the first time, I get the advantage when my opponent captures this knight. So again, I'm not sure exactly what they should have done, but it wasn't that, because they still have a very slight edge. But when they took this knight and I took back, suddenly I have my first advantage of the game. It's not a huge advantage. We're still, between +1 and -1. But again, I have no idea why that was a bad move or what they should have played. So I'm lost. That's what happened. And now I have a very slight edge. I don't know if I maintained that edge. We're about to find out. I'm just going to keep going here instead of pausing every couple of moves, because I hoped that it would take longer between each mistake or inaccuracy or whatever, so that, I would save you guys a lot of time by pausing the recording and clicking through, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They pushed their H pawn. I still have the same advantage. The eval bar didn't jump here, so that must have been a good move. My idea here, of course, was to block this pawn and that one. They have one passed pawn in the middle, and it's connected to this other one, but I figured I could maybe prevent them from moving this way. When they put their queen out here, the eval bar moved a little bit more, because we were at 0.3, and it jumped to 0.7 when they put their queen out there. So again, what should they have played? Well, again, I don't know, but that's what they did, and hopefully I took advantage of that. I did not. Okay, so I had something better here. Should I have just immediately offered a queen trade? There, my opponent is up one pawn, and it's this one. It's this one right here in the middle. So I don't think I should have offered the queen trade. Right now, this pawn is well defended, and it's stopping their b pawn from moving forward. These two pieces are keeping those two central pawns from moving forward. My idea for playing the queen up here, getting it out of the way, was to eventually get this rook over here. I knew I would have to do a little bit of maneuvering so I could protect that square, but I do remember thinking that's why I put my queen here. Based on Stockfish's previous recommendations, I'm going to guess I should have played g5, just to be silly. Oh no, I should have immediately offered the queen trade. Okay, well that's the only way I could have taken my advantage, was to immediately offer the queen trade. And it says they wouldn't have taken it. It would have given me an advantage of -1.2 if they had taken it. But really, why? Again, they're up this central pawn, which is a passed pawn. So what's wrong with them taking? And then obviously I have to take back that's the only move, and I'm up -1.2, and that's even if they play their best move, which is knight to d2. It's because they can't protect this pawn, isn't it? Is that what it is? Sorry. The reason I thought that is because it said that my next move would be rook to a4, but then why would they come protect? That's not one of their top moves. Okay, why is that bad? Well, now I'm not going to go after that pawn, but now I'm up -2, but I have to just come up just one. Okay, I'm trying to figure out why offering the queen trade gave me the advantage, but I can't. Okay, so what if I never would find this move, I guarantee it, but what if I had played that move? Wait, it said that was my best move. That's a2, right? Oh no, that's a2. Well, that was my fault. Okay, so I definitely would never find that move because it makes as little sense to me as playing here. What's the idea of this move? What does that accomplish? It's not aiming at that because that's defended. Is it keeping the knight? It's keeping the knight from getting out? No, the knight can go this way, or this way for that matter, and then get out however it wants. But it says their best move here is g3 or knight to e1. Yeah, see, it can get out that way. Or h4. Okay, but still, why would I find that move? What does it do? I don't know. And why do I have an advantage? Let's say they played their best move. What do I have to find? Oh, now I have to find g5 or f4. f4 offers a pawn trade here, but then that gets out of the way of their passed pawn. Okay, well, I went several moves forward, and I cannot, for the life of me, figure out why my best move was offering the queen trade and why they wouldn't take it. Again, the engine says they wouldn't take it, but I don't know why. At first, I thought it was because I'd be able to get my rook around here and get that pawn. And in fact, it says that that's what I would do, because they would play knight to d2, and then I would put my rook on a4, and their best move is knight to c4, which is here. Oh, it's aiming at my pawn. Nope, it's changed. Rook to b1. Okay, they've protected that pawn. Oh, wait, that wasn't a4. That was a5. a4 is my oh, wow. a5 was my second best move. For some reason, I was thinking a4 was there. That was throwing me off the whole time. Well, this makes even less sense because, oh, that pawn's defended. Yeah, rook to a4 makes even less sense to me than a5. So I just wasted a bunch of time there. Let's go on and see if there's another place at which I failed or my opponent did. Here, I did not take advantage of the situation. My opponent played g3, which was their best move in a different scenario, but not in this case. Now I have 1.8. If only, oh, I left the lines on. If only I'll play a move I never would have found. f4. Again, are they going to take it? It says that they wouldn't. It says they would push past. And then I would know to play rook to c8. Well, I wouldn't. I would have gone ahead with my plan of moving my queen over to do this. And that's what I did. But, okay, that didn't give away all my advantage. My opponent needs to get the bishop off the back rank. I think that's so that they can guard that corner with their rook. I think is why bishop to b2 is recommended. But instead, my opponent saw an open file, and just like me, they've probably been told rooks belong on open files. So they put it there, and now my plan is the best move, but probably only because I did, the queen to c7, queen to b7, and they did this. If that hadn't happened, then my plan would make no sense. But as it is, my plan makes sense, and Stockfish, agrees with me now that this is a good idea. But I don't know why I'm winning, because again, my opponent is up a pawn, has a passed pawn, and their queen's not in any real danger. It has multiple places it can move to and be okay. So they went back to the home square, but I'm up -3. And again, I need to play rook to a2. Well, we've already determined I would never find that move, or my second best move, which is f4. That one I kind of understand now that it's shown it to me 3 or 4 times. That's basically an extra pawn. It's because I already have an f-pawn back here. I can basically get rid of the front f-pawn. This one, if they take, I get back, right? And if they don't take, then I have a slightly advanced pawn, but I don't know exactly how good that's going to be for me eventually. Maybe it's causing them to overcommit the pawns in front of their king. But regardless, this pawn I can play with because it's an extra f-pawn. So I think I understand that one, but I probably wouldn't find it in a game. Or queen to d7 would leave me with some advantage, I assume because it aims at this b-pawn. But I don't know, and it doesn't look like I would take the b-pawn at any point in that situation, so probably not. Okay, so I brought the knight back to attack the b-pawn, and that took away most of my advantage. Is that because they can advance this one? Yes, okay. But they didn't, and I assume the reason they didn't is the same reason I wasn't worried about it, is I could just take it. But Stockfish isn't worried about that. Stockfish thinks I would take with my queen, and then they would take here, and then I would take with my knight, and then they would make some knight move, but that's probably not what would happen. If they pushed that forward, I would take with my knight. I can almost guarantee it because my queen's protecting, stuff back here. So they didn't move it forward, probably for the same reason that I wasn't worried about it. They instead brought their queen forward, which gives me the advantage again, but again, only if I, bring the rook all the way down here to a2, where I don't know what it's doing. The engine also suggests putting my knight back where it was. The reason they moved their queen up there, I assume, is to guard the pawn I've just attacked, which is why I'm not attacking it right now. But I played my third best move, which was to put the bishop here. This not only blocks their passed pawn, but, it kind of protects to keep this pawn from moving forward. Now my opponent needs to put this knight out here to attack this pawn. Well, I've just left it undefended. They could just take it now. So I don't think it's about getting my front f-pawn. They played their second best move, which was running away with their knight. It's because I was attacking it. But that makes a lot more sense to me than the knight to h4, unless you're going after the f-pawn, which they weren't, according to the engine. So I understand what my opponent played here, and now I'm supposed to put my bishop in there and attack their queen, okay? Or put it back where it was. Well, I liked it where it is now, which is why I moved it there. The other thing about the reason they moved their knight back here is kind of my secondary idea of putting my bishop here in the first place. It wasn't just attacking the knight. I could have gone all the way down to the corner with my bishop to h1, and then I would have had a mate here with my queen. But this prevents that because they're guarding that square. It was kind of a dual purpose move, attacking the knight and also threatening mate. Certainly I would have been threatening that had they put the knight over there. No, I wouldn't have, because it would have also guarded that square. Okay, never mind. But this also, prevents anything from coming through the back. It protects their queen. So I don't know why knight to h4 was better. I don't know why putting the bishop back where it came from is fine. I went ahead with my plan, which is attacking this pawn, which I have just moved a piece back here to attack, and now I'm attacking it. But that lost all my advantage Because, oh, now it's a good idea to take the f-pawn. Well, they didn't do it. They protected their b-pawn. Oh, huge advantage for me. And I know why. Because I caught this one during the game. Those two pieces lined up on the same diagonal. Now, you'll recall a couple of turns ago, Stockfish wanted me to put my bishop on e4 to threaten their queen, and their queen would have just moved over one. Wasn't it better to put the bishop there when I did? Because if I had put it here now, I wouldn't have won anything. Probably. So the fact that I put it here now means I win a rook for a bishop. Now, I still don't know why I'm up -5. And I certainly didn't know whether or not I was ahead in this game. Because again, they're up a pawn. Me going up this exchange, the bishop for the rook, is only going to put me ahead 1 point of material. And I still don't have a passed pawn. So my opponent went to protect it here on b3, and I took the rook, and they took my bishop, and now I'm up -5, but it's only that high if I put my queen on e4, and they will not accept the queen trade. They will block here. Or putting I'm up 4.5, -4.5, if I put my rook back on a8, or 4.25 if I take the pawn with the knight. Didn't want to take the pawn with the knight because I wanted to keep my knight here just in case. So I took that with my rook, which is threatening their queen. So that lost some of my advantage. And now they are, again, supposed to take the f-pawn. This time my opponent saw it. So it's only -4 now, and only if I play knight to e6. Well, I did, because I wanted to get my queen, going someplace. Not there now, but eventually, right? But I don't want to, leave this back here. I don't want to set myself up for a perpetual check, right? So I put the knight there, which, blocks their queen's path back in here. It also aims at that pawn. My opponent is supposed to take the queen all the way back, but I'm not sure why. c2 or d3. My opponent didn't know why either, so they got the bishop off the back rank finally. I blocked this pawn's advance with my queen, so again, I'm keeping these two pawns at bay. Did anything else interesting happen here? I'm watching the eval bar here. I should have checked with my rook on b1. I didn't. I threatened the bishop, which lost almost all my advantage. Okay. And my opponent could only maintain this -1 if they played knight to e3, which threatens my queen. And it says if they had done that, I would have played queen to b5. But instead, they put their queen here, which brought the advantage way back up again, but only if I check with the rook on b1 or play queen to c6. But I instead brought my knight over here. I knew they wouldn't take because the queen is pinned. And again, they should play knight to e3, but they didn't. They dropped the queen back out of danger. Well, that allowed me to attack it again. This time it's a fork with the bishop. This time they did play knight to e3. And this time I wasn't supposed to check with the rook on b1. This time I was supposed to play queen to a8, or queen to c6, or queen to b7. All my top 3 moves are on this diagonal, but instead I checked with the rook. Oh, okay, that was okay. My opponent got out of check, and then I'm supposed to move my queen backwards along this diagonal once again, but I didn't. I just went there. Oh no, that is on that diagonal. Okay, good. Wow. Now they have several moves, including chasing my queen with the pawn, which they did. I did not like that idea. The problem is I can take their bishop for free. And finally, I think I'm ahead. This is the first time in the game at which I thought I was ahead, because it looks like I get the bishop for free. But it also looks like I might have trouble stopping this pawn, so I wasn't 100% sure that just because I went up a piece that I was ahead. It is my opponent's best move to take and mine to take back, and now I'm up a rook for a pawn. But that pawn is passed and only 3 squares from promotion. It is their best move to push it, which they did. It's my best move to come after it. I did try various calculations about how hard it would be to get my rook back there because my pawn's in the way. Also, how's the knight going to get back there, right? So if I don't get my king over there, that pawn's going to promote before I can get one of my other pieces, to stop it. So I brought my king. Was that my only move? It wasn't. It said I could have played rook to a1, but then wouldn't they have pushed it? Oh, I guess that would have been enough time. Wow. Well, I calculated that it wouldn't have been enough time, which is why I brought my king. But then they brought their knight. I think maybe that was an attempt to keep me from coming further toward the pawn because then they could take this one, but that just would have allowed me to get in front of it. And again, I wasn't 100% certain that I was ahead here. I brought my rook, so now that pawn can't move forward. My opponent moved here, which I'm not sure what their idea was, but maybe they were making last-ditch desperation effort moves. I brought my knight here, so now I have multiple pieces aimed at the pawn, but they've protected it with this knight, so now it's protected twice. It's not my best move now. My best move is to move this pawn forward, but I brought my king again, which allows them to take that pawn, so they did take it. That also keeps my king from coming in front of this, but I got in front of it anyway. Now that pawn can't promote. That was the whole reason for me bringing my king, of course, was to keep this pawn from promoting, and I did that. So again, I was pretty sure I was ahead, but not 100% certain because knights are tricky and my opponent's rated higher than me. They started bringing their king, which means I have to move the knight. I did move the knight. They brought the king some more, and I brought the knight here. That wasn't one of my listed moves, but the idea was that if they take it, I'm golden right here, but they did take it, which made me worried that maybe I had done something wrong. But once I take back, wait, that wasn't even my only move. Oh, I could have checked, and it would have been just as good. Or checked here, and it would have been just as good. Wow. Okay, well, it was best to take. They kicked up a pawn to protect this one, so a little bit worried here. But I brought my king up, thinking, you know, if they come forward, I'm doing pretty good guarding that square. If they move this forward, I can take the e-pawn. They played h4, which is one of their better moves. Stockfish wants me to just drop the rook back and just play a waiting game. Or play f6. Oh, I don't know about f6. What if they go over here? I mean, I would take it back, but then those two pawns are separated and I'm not protecting them. They would come here, I'm pretty sure, and then I couldn't, no, they couldn't come there because my rook would, okay, wow. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have played f6. That looks really complicated and looks like a really good way to get them another passed pawn. But yeah, I should have just moved my rook up and down the d file, apparently, and waited for my opponent to make a mistake. But instead, I came toward them, knowing that my rook is keeping this pawn from promoting. My opponent's best move is to drop their king back to f3, which I guess comes for the rook, so they did that. Now this time I do understand f6, because now my king is here, so if they take, I'll be okay. And again, my rook is protecting the d-file, and also if they take, then I can get the d-pawn easily. After I played f6, my opponent resigned. It is their best move to take, and surprisingly, to me, I'm supposed to take back with my g-pawn. So what if they had taken here and I'd taken with my king? I still would have been way ahead. Okay. Taking with the king is by far the best move. So why back here did it say to take with the... Well, I'm confused because back here, the first time it said their best move was to take here, but now it does not say that at all. Now it says their best move is king to e4, in which case I would take their e-pawn, and then they would check me with this pawn, which I assume I would take with the rook. Wait, backing up. Okay, it does say f6 is my best move. So once I play f6, all right, well, the evaluation was all over the place, but it definitely doesn't say they should take it again. But earlier it said they should take it and I would take back with my g-pawn, which I'm pretty sure is bad. Yeah, okay. I had already determined I was going to take back with my king, but you saw that first time. I'm pretty sure it was on video that it said that I would take back with the g-pawn. That was not the best answer, I don't think. But wait, now those two moves are listed there. I'm pretty sure those moves weren't in the game. Yeah, I just went and checked. Move 53 and 53 are not in the game. I don't know why it added them to the list. It should have added them as a variation because f6 was the last move of the game. That seems like a flaw in the website because now I'm looking at this and thinking, oh, we went ahead and played here, and then it says my opponent resigned. But that's not the case. My opponent resigned here. So, oh, you can delete the move? Well, why did it add it? But it still doesn't show that here my opponent resigned. Well, as usual, some of the site's eccentricities distracted me quite a bit, and as usual, I didn't understand most of what went on in this game, apparently. I think the only thing I did understand is why this was a mistake. Now, I didn't know that it was a mistake, but I knew that I knew that I would go up the exchange here. That's the only thing in this game that I understood, both during the game and during this analysis, was that I was able to go up here, and I wasn't sure for a long time whether I was ahead. I'm glad I pulled this one out. If any of you understand some of those other things, please let me know. I'm about to get lost here. I've been lost for weeks, not understanding the great majority of mistakes and blunders and inaccuracies and great moves and all the other things. And as fun as this tournament was, I'm glad it's behind me. I'm glad I have, another 8 months or more until the next one starts. And I'll be in that one too. If you plan to still be playing chess at the beginning of 2025, I'm pretty sure the website will have this tournament again. So look forward to it. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.